It's like a big visual concert, you know, like
Yeah, yeah, it's like a concert except
yeah.
without the band.
Yeah, without the band. Though there is music. There will
Right.
be music, contemporary
Right.
music.
So there's really something in it for everybody that just showcases, again, the power of images, the power of being surrounded by light and color and movement. There's something to it. You feel something.
I'm here with David Taylor. David, this is absolutely astounding.
Isn't it though? It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this show and how it got started.
Well, it was created by the Normal Studios in Montreal and by their directors and artists. And now it's making its way around. It made its way around Canada. Now it's in the U.S. There are 17 cities in the U.S. and Canada.
Wow.
And it is quite the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there's 4 trillion pixels in here.
Okay, I was going to ask, so 4 trillion pixels.
Yeah, actually over that.
Wow.
But who's counting, right?
But who's counting, right?
Well, I am here today with a very special guest, Fanny Curtat. I hope I said that correctly. And she is an art historian and one of the curators for the Van Gogh exhibit. And Fanny, you're up in Montreal, or?
Yes, I am in Montreal. The creative team was mostly in Montreal. We created the show from here.
Wow. Now, tell me a little bit about the history of the show. How did you end up creating this? Who came up with the idea? How did you put this together? It's just an extraordinary show, by the way.
Oh, I'm so glad you say that, because it was an idea. Actually, the producers contacted Normal Studio in Montreal about this idea of creating a show about Van Gogh. And for the studio, it was all about finding this sort of happy, harmonious middle between art historical object and cutting edge projection technology. And what would these tools allow us to say about Van Gogh? Because it's a bit odd to have an exhibit about him without any of his paintings. We don't have the actual objects.
Right.
So we don't have the aura of an original, which is something quite unique. You can't really replace that. And I encourage everybody to go experience it in a museum. But when you don't have the object, what else do you have? And it was all about finding the potential of these tools to create a story and really show the audience just how they can still relate with Vincent's work and how it's still very much relevant.
Yeah, there's over 300 paintings here. They're going to morph one into another.
Okay.
And when you first come in, the exhibit, you're going to be going through the educational history area where you learn about Van Gogh and you see his quotes and things like that. Then you'll be going into the waterfall room where when you go through there, the paintings are going down the wall underneath your feet. And then you come into this 11,000 square foot immersive room.
Wow, this is extraordinary. Now, you're in the Western New York area till when?
This is here through October, but it looks like, you know, probably quite a bit longer after that.
Oh, that's
what
wonderful.
we're hoping.
That's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
The first month or so is already sold out, so
That's great.
beyond that.
And I love that about the exhibit. I love that it actually takes the history and brings it to the current. That is just so amazing, because so many times young people, they would be interested in these extraordinary masters from our history if they were brought into the present in a way that they could relate to. It takes something really precious from the past and brings it into the moment in a way that people embrace.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear you say that, because that's exactly the goal. It's really about connecting different types of experiencing the world too, because painting is that. It's Vincent's vision. He was one of the first to do that, to actually fight his way through and struggle. Nobody wanted that type of art at that time. It was new to just share his subjective vision. And so allowing these comparisons to happen with these tools, with maybe including some parts of society that we don't know what to do with, like Instagram. What are the pros and cons in the art world? How do you connect these two? How do you connect a 21st century audience with these frames of perception with a 19th century artist?
Now, what was it like bringing this to town? Because I imagine all the little the glitches that you have to work out. I know today we're a little warm. We're doing a sweat lodge here.
Yes, yeah, we had
as they fix the air.
We had a hose break. I guess it was a first time in like years we've ever had a hose break on the generator, but it did. So
it's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
It's just part of putting something like this together.
This is a multi-million-dollar exhibit, really.
Right.
And this tent itself came from Germany.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it's a 35,000 square foot pavilion tent.
That's extraordinary. Now, where has this show been exhibited? Where?
Miami, San Diego.
I saw it in New York, right?
New York.
It was in New York City.
Yes, it's everywhere. It's in Canada, Toronto, Vancouver.
Wow.
Yeah, it's making its way around. And most of those are all, if you haven't noticed, they're all major cities.
Right.
We call major, but this is quite extraordinary for it to come here, because usually it bypasses us. It'll go from Detroit to Boston, and they wave as they go past. But
it's kind of the equivalent of the Rolling Stones playing Buffalo a few years back, and not New York. So
correct. Yes. Yeah. And this time they didn't. This time they canceled, actually.
Yeah.
So good thing they were here a couple years ago.
And yet everybody's living sort of the same need to share. And it's very strong in Van Gogh, this sort of craving for beauty and this need for purpose. And so that was one of the main goals of this exhibit. And the main angle that we took was this idea of going beyond sort of the dark myth, because people tend to know Van Gogh only for the darkness in his life.
Right.
Cutting ear incident.
Hair, cutting the ear off, all of the things. Yeah.
Exactly. And the struggles. And all of this is true. But that's not what you see when you look at his work. You look at his work and it's vibrant colors, it's movement, it's life, it's joy, it's pure, it's intensity. And so that's what we wanted to focus on.
That's beautiful. Wow. And Fanny, you're not passionate about it at all, I can tell.
Yeah, really, it's just...
I love seeing that in you, because clearly your love of art history of Van Gogh in particular, now that you did into this particular project, it's just so apparent. It just flows out of you when you speak. It's so beautiful. And I do believe that when that kind of love and passion for a project goes into it, the results are remarkable, and they truly are, because I got to go to the exhibit on the very first day, and I couldn't even imagine. I'd heard it was amazing, but wow.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Something that I felt when I was sitting in there, in the room, in the main room, is just with the energetic that was created with such beauty, and in being displayed in the way, that it was on every wall, every part of the room. And when you sit there, it does all make sense for a moment. The art, the movement, the expression, it brings that sense of peace.
Yeah, and I'm glad you picked up on that, because I think it goes to show that even though our houses don't look the way Van Gogh's house looked, and the nature around us doesn't look like the countryside in Arles where he was. There's still some purity, some simplicity about the subject he chose, where we again are in a time of crisis and confusion, and to have somebody focusing so much on nature and the simplicity of day-to-day life, and it's just sort of a perfect fit for what we're going through, and very inspiring in the sense that, oh yeah, this was there before, it's still his now, and that's what we need to protect, that's what we need to focus on. And so it's really reassuring in that sense. Yeah.
So tell me some of the other things you're doing at the exhibit.
Every Thursday starting September 9th, we are going to have yoga here.
Yes. I love it.
Yes. April from Uplift Yoga and Strength is going to be here from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning and doing yoga in this massive room. What else? Oh, we have Beyond Van Gogh beer
Okay.
through the Ellicottville Brewing Company, which you can buy in almost any store,
That's great.
and restaurant,
Oh,
bar.
that's wonderful. Your own Van Gogh beer. And it's a safe environment because everybody's wearing masks when they walk through the exhibit, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're not doing it for
Right,
the interview.
for the interview, but-
yeah, for the interview. But everybody comes in, staff and patrons will be wearing a mask.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get tickets.
Incredibly easy to get tickets, but you can't buy them at the door. You can't come in and try to buy one here. You have to
All
get
right.
them at vangobuffalo.com. Is really the only place you can get it.
All right.
Unless there's somebody scalping them up front.
Right.
But otherwise, always vangobuffalo.com is where to
For
go.
people that are watching in other areas.
They can just Google Beyond Van Gogh, and it'll show.
Okay.
Yeah,
It'll show their
it'll
area
show
of how to
all the
get
other
tickets.
areas.
Oh, well, thank you so much, David. I really appreciate this.
Well, thank you for coming. It's going to be a beautiful event, and I hope you enjoyed being in here.
Ah, I love it already.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
It is. Thank you so much.
Thank you.